Vaughn Edmonds from Cedar Mountain, North Carolina. I have a specific question, but not a trivial one. You regularly compare Berkshire Hathaway's performance to the S&P 500, which is very helpful and very interesting. But I haven't seen a correlation coefficient between the S&P 500 daily, from day to day performance, the close, say, and Berkshire Hathaway's close. Now, it so happens for me, and I'm sure some other people in the audience, that I don't always have access to newspapers, or the internet for that matter, newspapers that publish Berkshire Hathaway performance on a daily basis, or even a weekly basis for that matter, or a monthly basis. It would be very helpful to know the extent of a correlation coefficient between those two variables. If you have that, would you let us know what it is? And if you don't, would you please consider calculating it in the future?
Well, it could be calculated, but I don't think it would have much meaning. I mean, it would be an historical correlation coefficient, which, I would be very reluctant to have people place any weight in. I try to indicate even the limitations of the yearly comparison of the relative performance, because what was doable by us in the past is not doable today. I mentioned in my annual report, the best decade I ever had on comparative performance by far was the 50s. Now, I don't think it was because I was a lot smarter then. I'm unwilling to accept that. But, I had some edge of, it was probably 40 plus points per year. But I was working with it. That has no relevance to today whatsoever. It would be misleading to publish it or make calculations based on it. So I think that you would find, I don't know what you'd find on a specific correlation between Berkshire and the S&P. You'd find a lot of correlation. Well, you might not find so much even. You'd find it in intrinsic value between that and Coke and a few stocks like that. But I don't really think that's particularly useful information going forward. We'd have no objection. Anybody wants to make the calculation, but it wouldn't be something that would be of any utility to us. And if we don't think it's of utility to us, we don't want to put it out for shareholders as being a possible utility. We do think that the S&P annual calculation has some meaning because it's an alternative for people to invest. They don't need us to buy the S&P. So unless over time we have some advantage over that, what are we contributing? What value is added by our management? So we think that people should hold us accountable, even though we would prefer not to be, because that it is a tough comparison for us as a tax-paying entity against the pre-tax calculation on the S&P. But we don't pay any attention to beta or any of that sort of thing. It just doesn't mean anything to us. We're only interested in price and value, and that's what we're focusing on all the time. And any kind of market movements or anything don't mean anything. I don't know what Berkshire is selling for today, and it really makes no difference. It just doesn't make any difference. What does count is where it is 10 years from now. And I can't tell you what it was selling for on May 4th, 1983 or May 4th, 1986. So I don't care what it sells for on May 4th, 1998. I do care, where it is in general 10 years from now. And that's where all the focus is. Charlie?
Yeah, we're publishing data in the form where we would like it if we were the passive shareholder. And so you're getting the data and you're getting it on a time schedule based on what we would want if we were in your position. And we don't think the correlation coefficients would help us.
We don't think anything that relates either to volume, price action, relative strength, any of that sort of thing. And bear in mind, when I was in my teens, I used to eat that stuff up. I mean, I was making calculations based on it all the time and kept charts on it, and even wrote an article or two on it. But it just has no place in the operation now.
One of the pleasant things about dealing with Warren all these years is he's never talked about a correlation coefficient. If the correlation isn't so extreme, you can see it with the naked eye, he doesn't compute it.